Hello everyone, this is Summer Lupin and I'm back with Sherlock Holmes, Secret of the Silver Earring. Okay, so before I get going, last time I finished what might be the last quiz and we got the Silver Earring! Space exclamation point. Okay, but first, let's see. Dialogues. Ugh. So I don't get a recording of that dialogue with Lestrade. If you... They mentioned last time the Chancellor, Lestrade had a meeting with the Minister and they were talking about the Chancellor of the Exchequer. If you don't know what that is, that's basically the British equivalent of the Secretary of Treasury. I learned that from Extra History's video series on the South Sea Bubble. They're also talking about how the Minister thought it was better if Grimble was in charge of the company to help fix the mess rather than a young woman who's barely 18 years old, which the inexperience I will grant you, but I hope they weren't thinking that just because she's female, because that's sexist and terrible. And actually, her being in charge of a big enterprise like that would be very good for the feminist movement, which was starting up in the late 1800s. Yeah. First wave feminism would have been starting up in this century, probably within these decades. Also, there was the other thing about Dwight Richards. They mentioned he's the director of the Fairfax Theatre Company group right now. Okay. Which, he didn't come up at all. Your attitude and behavior in this affair has set us one against the other and is vile and contemptible. Abandon all thought about the Fairfax Theatre and the soil on which it stands. You conduct yourself as a... This was in Bromsby's office, or Grimble's office? Yeah. It would be nice if Sherlock had mentioned who this Dwight Richards was, if he knew who he was. I mean, this was never looked up. This was never investigated. So it's just... What? Okay, but anyway, the Fairfax Theatre Company apparently moved to a different theater. Apparently they didn't close down. They just, they sold that theater and they're working in this one. And they're doing international tours and whatnot. So we're about to talk to this Dwight Richards guy at Aston's Theatre. Come on, Watson.
Aston's Theatre. Here we are.
We are not open to the public yet, gentlemen. Oh, bless my soul. I can hardly believe my eyes. It is the young Sherlock Holmes, isn't it?
Watson, allow me to present Philotomy Kirby.
Philotomy?
He was one of the last great hopes of the popular stage. He also took great pains to advance my comprehension of the many subtleties of the theatrical arts.
Aww.
So he can still prattle away. Don't listen to him. This is the most talented student I've ever met, upon my word, as an actor. But those days are past. So, am I speaking to the former actor or the world-renowned detective today?
Tell me, what you know about the Fairfax Theatre troupe?
2 months ago, they returned from an international tour. Richards, their director, had managed to secure the necessary funds to buy back Aston's. It seems he had finally resolved his troubles.
They sold this place too? Wow, they must have been in real trouble.
He was in some kind of trouble.
It's always the same with those tours abroad. Your star actress marries an emir. Another time, the entire troupe has their luggage stolen. Anything is possible, and whatever occurs is usually nothing good. But who would have imagined such a tragedy?
Tragedy? Out with it!
What tragedy?
Their last tour started about 3 years ago. At that time, the troupe was housed at the Fairfax Theatre.
3 years ago.
But a series of failures forced the owners to sell it at a substantial loss. The owners were 3 individuals: Dwight Richards, their current director, Miss Davenport, their star actress and the mistress of Richards, and lastly, a young actor, costumier, and makeup man called Jeffries. They
Jeffries?
decided, after the sale, to launch an international tour in order to raise funds.
Their success was assured?
Yes, the fame of English theatre is worldwide. During their travels, Jeffries and Miss Davenport developed a close relationship, which was
awkward.
much to the regret of the hot-headed Richards.
Ooh.
He is a gypsy by birth. No one can be more possessive and quick-tempered than a gypsy.
Pray continue.
In short, a dark tragedy occurred in a village in Latin America, located not far from the Amazon. One evening, after their performance, someone noticed that Miss Davenport and Jeffries had gone missing. The local authorities were notified, and the alarm was raised.
And Richards?
Richards was implicated in some manner, it seems to me. However, there was no proof of his involvement, and no bodies were ever found.
What a strange case.
If you need more details, you should ask the actors. As you may observe, they are rarely able to hold their tongues.
Oof, that's.
I will see you later,
nasty.
Kirby.
Yes, it was good seeing you again.
Okay. Well, somebody found something. Follow me, Watson. Who are you?
Hello, young man. What are you looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry. You startled me. I'm looking at her. Her. Are you from the press? Of course you are. You must be here to interview her. Ah, the play is wonderful, and Miss
Oh, he's
Caroline will
smitten.
surely shine. If only my father could have seen this day.
Who's your father?
Your father.
Yes, I am Bruce Aston, and my father was Clyde Aston, the former owner of the theatre. It may have fallen into some disrepair, but during its time it was well loved by so many. A host of young actors debuted on that venerated stage. Why, it was at this very spot where Mr. Richards first met Miss Davenport.
And look how that turned out.
Have you ever heard of the Fairfax Theatre?
It is the theatre which was demolished. It seems to me that it had been owned by Mr. Richards together with Miss Davenport and a friend of theirs. They left on an extended tour, but I think it went badly for them. After his return, Mr. Richards bought the theatre back from the bank, and I do hope his good fortune will continue.
Well, we can hope.
Miss Caroline, I think anything is possible, and the building is still solid and comfortable. Though the bank took over the theatre, they left the keys. From time to time, I would do what I could to tidy up a bit or see to a broken window.
That's nice. One, the Fairfax Theater was not demolished. It was kind of sort of left as is. A lot of it was still standing. They hadn't even taken down the theater sign. It was just sitting there in the middle of the cement works. And yeah, I think it went badly for them. I'd say so. And the guy that came back out of that alive is suspected of murder.
Are you a part of the troupe?
Yes, when Mr. Richards noticed how I had worked to keep the place up, he hired me. I helped Mr. Kirby a little, and also Mr. Trumpet backstage.
Okay.
Goodbye, young man.
Goodbye, sir.
She's busy reciting lines. He's not busy.
Excuse me. May I ask you some questions?
Naturally, I'm listening to you.
Rehearsal.
You are rehearsing at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, we are in rehearsal for the play we are to perform at the month end. Are you critics or reporters? As you know, we just came back from an extended tour. We were a triumph everywhere we performed.
Except for the Amazon. I wouldn't call that a triumph.
Tell us about this international tour.
We performed in France, in Switzerland, and even for an Arab prince. We were met with acclaim at every stop. If tragedy had not occurred, we were to appear next in New York. But fate had other plans for us.
What sort of tragedy?
Oh, surely you must have heard about it. All because of those in our company who assumed the right to reveal every distasteful and intimate detail of a most tragic event.
Yourself included?
Anything to gain publicity for themselves. It is positively scandalous. But even a professional actor such as myself respects the privileges of the press and the public's right to know.
Your sensitivity honors you.
Please, continue your story.
The events took place in a most sordid place in Brazil named Guacamole or Babiamo or something like that. I still can't stop asking myself what we were doing there in the first place. But to be brief, our talented costumier, Mr. Jeffries, had been having a tete-a-tete with the beautiful Miss Davenport. Unfortunately, she was still very much the mistress of our director, Mr. Richards. I tell you, the tension was unbearable.
I imagine.
In the view of a professional, they were the worst hours of my life. Miss Davenport was spending the whole day closeted in her room. Mr. Jeffries trembled so uncontrollably that he was unable to do our makeup. Mr. Richards stepped in, and I must say, he was a pitiful substitute. May you never be so ill-fortuned as to have your face in his large, hairy hands.
Guacamole. But you ask what you were doing there. I don't know. Wasn't Brazil kind of building up to be some, Extra History just finished a video series on the Empire of Brazil. Just reminded me of that. So Brazil wasn't entirely a backwater in the 1890s. This was in the 1890s, so it definitely was not a backwater. So it had reason to be there.
And then?
Guacamole.
Our first performance in that town was naturally well received. That very night, a tragedy took place. Mr. Jeffries and Miss Davenport went missing not long after the performance ended. It was impossible to find them. Then we heard that Mr. Richards was arrested on suspicion of murder regarding Miss Davenport and Mr. Jeffries. We were outraged and most indignant. Some entertained thoughts that we would never leave that godforsaken place.
How was the matter resolved?
Yeah.
Fortunately for Mr. Richards and all of us, the prison warden and the local chief of police was an Englishman. Lacking direct evidence or even a corpse, the accusations against Mr. Richards could not stand. He was set free on the spot. I think that had it not been for the intervention of that young expatriate, we might have been stranded in that Amazonian swamp for all eternity.
Interesting. Goodbye.
Well, thank you for your assistance.
That's all right. Don't hesitate to seek my help.
He didn't even give his name. Okay. Yeah, this is Kirby, Bruce Aston, Relay Wilcox. That's his name, which he didn't bother giving. That's another annoying thing in
I
this.
can't enter like that.
Oh, I can talk to you.
Don't listen to that milquetoast. He gets positively weak in the knees over redheads. A policeman is just a policeman. That's it. If Richards isn't in jail, it's only because he had nothing to do there.
What?
We were talking about the tragedy
What?
which occurred during your previous tour, and
You aren't the press, are you? No. In my opinion, you seem more like policemen. Well, listen closely, inspectors. Miss Davenport was nothing more than an aging woman who adored seeing all the men at her feet.
What? Don't you mean...
She toyed with both Richards and Jeffries like two little puppets. Dwight Richards is quick-tempered, but he wouldn't harm a hair on her head. And if you are eager to be so helpful, please, find my red-haired wig.
Oh, really?
we must continue our investigation.
Of course.
I can't enter like that.
Oh, now I can talk to you.
Hello, miss. I'm sorry for disturbing you.
Oh, you are welcome.
Are you rehearsing the new play?
Yes, we are hard at work. Excuse me, did I just hear Mr. Kirby calling you Holmes? Is it really possible that you were the great detective, Sherlock Holmes, and you were Dr. Watson?
In the flesh.
I'm investigating the facts of the terrible events that occurred during the company's last tour.
Oh,
And
I see,
something
you were
else,
interested in that
apparently.
case. It's still a complete mystery, even for those who were there.
Veronica?
Tell us about Miss Davenport.
She
Oh,
was
right.
fabulous and positively mesmerised men. She confessed to me that she had been indiscreet with our costumier, Jeffries. She had left Richards before, but she always came back to him. She said he understood her completely without her even saying a word.
Until that last time.
Yeah.
Forgive an admiring expert, but your earring is absolutely magnificent.
Oh, that was a gift from Veronica. She got it along with 2 other matching earrings and a small jewel case. She gave me this one, another to Doris, and kept the most beautiful for herself. Veronica insisted on cleansing it herself weekly with a special cleanser. It was remarkable and kept the earring all sparkling like stars. When I saw her last, Veronica was wearing her earring. She never parted with it.
Where can we find Doris?
She must be in her dressing room.
Goodbye, miss, and thanks.
You're welcome,
You mean
Mr.
that's
Holmes.
not Doris? Miss Sullivan and Miss Carolyn Small. Okay. Okay, now we can enter because we have purpose. She seems a bit passed out.
Pardon?
Why can people not allow actors their peace and quiet? They walk through here as if it were a common thoroughfare. Nothing strange about that. They still haven't bothered to change the locks. Anyone can enter at will and abuse me. Me, who in the 50s, I was rather good actually. Did you see me? With the best, me. And they just treat me, and oh.
The subtitles gave out. Watson's just running down. Snore, snore, snore. Snores very loudly. Wow.
Are you rehearsing?
Everyone has his own technique. Cheers.
Apparently your technique is found at the bottom of a wine glass.
Miss Small told you about your earring. Would you mind sharing?
Told you?
It can't be sold. Do you think that actors have no heart? I would prefer dying of thirst than parting with it. My friend, my best friend Veronica, who I love like my own daughter, she gave it to me. My little Veronica. She... Veronica.
Oh. Oh. Great. Now I feel terrible.
Do you know what has happened to your friend?
Left. She left with that Jeffries. Oh, I know what they say. That Richards murdered them both. Why not? He did everything for them. Everything. She was naught but a common flower girl. And that Jeffries was a mere servant.
Look at her movements.
He made them actors. Yes, actors. Yes.
Her movements are not well synced with the dialogue. Oh boy. I'm gonna leave you to your nap.
Oh, we'd better leave you to your work.
Out! I need to concentrate.
Uh-huh. Nothing to examine. It's the door. Okay. Let's go at this door.
Let us see whether we can find other evidence.
Okay, but it's also been 21 minutes, so I guess I'll examine the rest of the theater
What chaos!
next time. And examine this mess. The Watson icon? I'm playing as Watson? Really? That's weird. Okay, so this has been Norman Lipin playing Sherlock Holmes, Secret of the Silver Earring. Remember, if you like this video, please remember to do things like press that like button, leave a comment to tell me how I'm doing, consider subscribing to my channel, or just sharing this with your friends on social media. Every little bit helps. And I'll see you guys next time with more of Sherlock Holmes, Secret of the Silver Earring. What will we find in this theater? And this gigantic mess? Why am I playing as Watson? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Alright. Bye.